cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. It's time again.
What up, y'all? You tuned in to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is Music Monday, and I'm your host, Slash. And with me, I got Comedian 96, K Money, Freddie G. Together, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. All right, welcome back to Music Monday. Another great show again. Diddy. I'm sure y'all already know the situation going on with him being sued for, several different allegations by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. And she worked for a couple of the companies that Sean Puffy, of course, was in control of, and said that, it was a lot of stuff going on where he made her have sex with male prostitutes, different little allegations that she brought up. And she actually took this to court and said, hey, I'm going to file a $30 million lawsuit on you for these sexual activities you tried to you bullied me into, stuff like this. And he settles out of court immediately after one day, probably not even 24 hours. Now, I don't know whether he gave her the $30 million, but it was probably close to it. Whatever the number was, I'm sure it was a fair amount for her to settle out of court. But moving on, it's gotten to a really bad situation for Diddy, because now there's others coming out saying stuff, allegations, sexual allegations, about him doing other stuff. But even, and I'll say this, from being around the music industry, I was around in the early 90s when Bad Boy was popping. I mean, they had hits after hits after everything they touched was a hit. Bad Boy was it,
Yes, it was.
But even back then, there were rumors that we would hear at the labels that I was working with about stuff going on in Bad Boy's office, So this has been years ago, early 90s. And here it is now. We in, 2023, almost 24. And now more people are starting to come out and tell the truth really about what's been going on in Bad Boy's camp and anything that had to do with Sean Puffy Combs. I mean, he's had a list of other charges that artists that he was involved with was charged in. So his name was coming up in a lot of different stuff. His name also came up by the guy that supposedly shot Tupac. So Diddy's name came up in that situation. But I mean, these sexual assault charges, that they really serious about sexual assault charges, especially if you got some money and you've been in the entertainment business. I mean, we've seen it before with Bill Cosby,
Yep.
And here he is again. And as a black entertainer on that level, you have to really mind who you are in your earlier stages of the career, because you see they coming back after 30 years.
20, 30
years.
Yeah.
Decades later, they paying the
coming
price.
later.
Way later.
So man, she has some good lawyers, and let me tell you why I say that. Because look how quick he settled. Now, technically, from my understanding, she didn't really go directly after him. The lawyers went after the companies,
right, that she worked for.
Yeah,
right, that were owned by Diddy.
That's a totally different dynamic when
Right.
you're going after these companies,
Right.
Versus the personal part of it. So So I thought that was smart on the lawyer's part.
Right.
But also, you know how people say that money changes people, and
Right.
then you got others who say money changes the people around you.
Right.
Then you have, I'm more of the I stand on more of this side. Money doesn't change you, and really money doesn't change the people around you. Money actually make you amplified and bigger.
Right. Whatever
Of what you
whatever
were
you
already
already
are.
are. Exactly.
So if you was taking, if you was into some freak shit when you was broke,
It's just elevated.
you're gonna be on some extra freak, or
Right.
gonna have more of it
Mm-hmm.
now that you got money.
Exactly.
Right.
That
You know,
goes with it. You know?
Yeah. So,
you drugs,
I
same
think I
thing.
think that money makes you just more of what you already are.
Right.
They were in a relationship, weren't they?
Yeah, they were ex girlfriend, boyfriend type of thing. And that's what makes it so strange that
Right.
now after that, here you are filing sexual assault charges on the man.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but you can have rape in a relationship.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
You can be married and rape your wife.
True.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's true.
You know,
That is definitely true.
so you can be married and physically abuse people.
Yeah.
So the charges doesn't change and the crime doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that now you got people that probably be like, why wait this long
Exactly.
to
Not-
say
To
something?
say something.
That's what
exactly.
everybody is
Yeah.
wondering. why?
And
you
but
know?
it's starting to become the normal. In every sexual assault case, it's pretty much the same thing. This stuff has went on for 10, 15 years. And it's almost kind of like having a conspiracy, kind of. If it was a federal charge, that would be conspiracy. After 10 years, you watch these people 10 years do this.
And you doing the same.
And you're doing the same old thing, you know. But unfortunately, it's not the Fed, so that's not the case. But it's kind of similar to the same thing. Now, what I will say, even though he settled that one day after, he's still saying, well, hey, that doesn't mean I did nothing wrong. So he's trying to protect, I guess,
His, who
he is,
Yeah.
and say, well, no, I ain't did nothing. I'm just, you know.
Well, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Even if you're guilty and you're in the public eye and you're guilty, you're gonna try to put the fire out as best you can,
Right.
because you don't want nobody looking at you. You don't want nobody looking at you sideways.
Exactly.
You know, especially if you are. Well, I guess this go for women too, but speaking from a male's perspective, if you're a man, you don't want to be looked at as a pedophile. You don't want, if you're a heterosexual man or claim to be a heterosexual man, you don't want to be looked at as gay, and you don't want to be looked at as a rapist or a woman beater.
Right.
You know, so yeah, of course he's going to come out and say, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
He better.
Yeah.
He better
Yeah, of
say
course.
something.
Yeah.
He better try to speak, because if you don't say nothing,
Yeah.
we're going to be like, well, yeah, it must be true.
Yeah.
You ain't
Exactly.
said nothing to stand up for yourself?
Now, do y'all remember the group Danny Kane?
I do.
Okay, so one of the singers,
Aubrey.
O'Day.
Aubrey O'Day.
Yeah, O'Day.
I know.
The white girl.
Yeah. Now, she said she been trying to tell people about Bad Boy Records.
What?
And she didn't use just Sean Puffy Combs. She used Bad Boy Records. So
Yeah.
what that sounded like to me was everybody that was down with Puffy was down with this. Being part of his record
Or
label.
it could be they were taking advantage of their power.
Well, I mean,
They probably wasn't. They was just, I'm powerful. I'm bad boy. Maybe they probably weren't even down with him, but they was just taking advantage of their power.
it was him and his friends.
Okay, well then,
You
never
know,
mind.
most of the
It could
time
be,
you got
yeah.
that kind of money, you're not just doing it by yourself, bro.
Right.
You got a group
You
of
got a
dudes
group.
that you hang with, and this is what y'all do. That's why the girl is mentioning Bad Boy Records, and that's probably why the girl went after the companies, because all of those guys probably owned a portion of each one of those companies that she sued. You know, so it's a lot behind it. But what's worse about this whole situation? So these are alleged charges that she's filing on him, but now you got other people coming out saying, "Oh wow, he did it to me too." Now, did we know that was coming?
Well, I mean, it seemed trendy.
Yeah,
It always comes.
That's a good word for it. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It seems trendy. Now, I will say this: that's not to minimize the victims or that's not to say that it didn't happen.
Right.
Because it just looks a little fishy, but it's not to say that it didn't happen. But it's trendy. Once one come out, then there's others. Chances are,
Of course, it's going to be others.
It's going to be others.
And then by the amount of money that you threw out there so fast, I still don't know the amount, but I just know what she filed, 30 million.
Y'all ever noticed though? It seems like this is it's like you said, it's trending, but it's it's like if you notice the pattern when they did Bill Cosby,
Right.
and it's from 30 years ago, right? And then now Puffy, who else?
Kelly.
R. Kelly, years ago. But if you take a sports player, let's take Deshaun Watson.
They don't wait that long to do that.
Right away.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like it's targeted and set up.
It's different
because
and you might be right on that, because the thing is, and I think here's the thing why, because when you got these music artists, it takes them a period of time to reach that point. Could take 5 to 10 years.
But why it take you 30 years to report a rape? You got raped 30 years ago.
Think about it, because at that peak, that 10-year mark is where the majority of your money start coming in.
Oh, so now it looks selective rape. I'm gonna let him rape me, and I'm gonna talk about it 30 years from now, so I can get more money.
And then we never know what the case is on a lot of this stuff.
Wow,
You got to keep in mind.
that's how it. I'm just saying, you 30 years later on all these, it's not. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it is what it is.
With the athletes, you got to keep in mind the league also is the one that's taking action right away.
Right.
What makes it seem like they're being
right, because you
crucified
represent
early,
the
right.
league.
Yeah.
So the league is looking at it like, no, we don't want you in here.
We don't tolerate
Right.
that. So
And
they're
then-
going to take action quick.
And then I think also that the bulk of a sports player's career is within 5 years.
Right.
So the most money they gonna get is right here. Right now is the time to get you out of here and get that money back.
But the way you explain it, it sounds like you in it for the payday, the rates or payday rates.
Most of the time
That's
it
what
is. That's why I
sounds
say
like.
we can't. And see, the thing is, we can only know what we hear. But remember that old saying where they say, believe half of what you see,
None of what you
hear. Because whatever side that you heard it from, it's another side to that story.
It sure is.
And you don't know that side. And then when you put the 2 and 2 together, it all makes sense why everybody did what they did. You know what I mean? So that's why after 30 something years, come on, that's way too much, I think. But that's not to say that what he's doing as far as sexual assault is good. I'm not condoning that in no kind of way, because it's really not. And you should have been locked up behind it. I felt the same way when it happened to Kelly. But it's different with these two, because not only is girls involved with this Diddy thing, but it's men too.
It's men too.
So it's on a whole different level. It's amplified
Gotcha.
pretty much of whatever Kelly was doing, because he had somebody underage on his label that he forced to have sex with prostitutes.
Yeah, then too, you gotta look at it this way, man. Think about it. Whether it's Kelly or Diddy, both were powerful men,
Right.
with money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they were.
But they also had to have enablers.
Right. It was people helping.
They had people
Yeah.
that was in cahoots,
Right.
Exactly.
with this. So if you work for Diddy. Or you work for R. Kelly and they say, well, look, I like that one over there. Go get this one. Because they can't actually do it,
Right.
really, because, it's too much stress. So send my person to go and go give them my number.
Right.
So that right there is enough. You kind of a part of it, especially if you know what this dude is actually doing.
Right.
What this dude is actually doing. Now you're in cahoots. And
Right.
now you can lie about it and say, oh, I was just doing my job. I
Right.
didn't know what they do behind closed doors. My boss told me to go and get this young lady. He wanted to talk to her. You can lie and say it's your job.
Right.
But deep down, if you know what was going on, you're a part of it.
You're part of it. That makes you accessory
So
to whatever the charge is.
Yeah, my follow-up question to that, So, like you said, like I said, it's a pattern, and it seems like it's happening years later. But now I'm noticing just males. It doesn't matter if it's black or white, because you had the guy that killed himself.
Right.
I can't remember his name. He's white, and a couple of other was. I want to know: do you think? Because allegedly, Cardi B has a video on YouTube. She talks about when guys would come try to holler at her or whatever, or they would get nice and drunk, and she would hook them up with a transgender when the guy's drunk. So the guy's having sex with a transgender.
Well, let me tell you,
allegedly, there's video on YouTube with her saying.
But
that.
does that make her wrong?
That's rape if the guy's going after her.
But it don't have
you don't
nothing
think it's
to do-
rape? The guy didn't come intentionally to have sex with a guy.
But
that
she
night.
didn't rape the guy.
It doesn't
either.
matter. You put her in the situation. It's the
She's-
same thing as if I'm riding the car with K Money and I kill somebody. He didn't know I was gonna kill him.
So, yeah,
but
she-
he is an accessory.
I think
So-
she is wrong.
Now, is
Yeah.
she getting paid to do this? Is she getting?
No, she was just doing like a guy. You go in the club, you meeting her, you think this is before she got
Right.
all her fame and all that, right? So if you in the club and you know, because she used to dance apparently, right? So or allegedly, I guess. So you guy trying to holler at her, but she for fun. This is for fun. She pretend I want to holler at you, get you drunk, and then now you nice and drunk, and she hooks you up what you think is a girl, but you's nice and tipsy, and it's end up being a guy. And you get what I'm saying? That's
Yeah, I
funny
get it.
to her, possibly.
It's funny to her.
Yeah. To God, I mean, that's got to be some form of rape to me.
I don't know how to judge that, because what I'm thinking, I mean, I'm not the judge of it, but what I'm saying is, if a man allow another man because he think he drunk, that don't make him right at all. He should know better. This ain't no chick. You know what I'm saying? I see where Cardi B can be wrong, but I would hold myself more accountable than her if I was in that situation.
I get it, but I think
you feel what I'm saying?
I think you're being biased, and you're looking at it as a man being the man. You're not looking at it. You're looking at a man being a man. I think. First of all, she shouldn't ever put him in a situation to be. If I come to holler at her, I'm coming to holler at that girl. I'm not coming. Don't trick me into.
I got a question.
You get what I'm saying?
I got a question.
You call her me
because ain't nobody tricked you into
if you
nothing.
drunk and you're not in your right state of mind, and
Nobody's tricking me into nothing. You feel what I'm saying?
I get what you're
Nobody's
saying.
gonna trick me into nothing. I can make my own mind up.
I got a question for
but
you,
not after
Comedian
10 shots.
96.
10 shots of tequila, you can't make your own mind.
Comedian
up. But go
96.
ahead. Yes, sir.
If you were charging Cardi B based upon the fact that this guy was hollering at her in the club, was trying to talk to her in the club, and she had some drinks with him, or they was drinking or whatever, and then they went back to her place, and when they got back to her place, he was tipsy or whatever, and he think he's gonna smash Cardi B, but a transgender person comes in. My question to you is, once this transgender person do what they're doing to him, whether giving him some head or they're letting him get some butt, because I can't see him getting nothing else. And at that time, if you're getting some butt, you're going to see some dick and balls.
You knew it was there.
Okay, we good. You just get some head.
So okay. Let's just say
do that.
let's
Go
just say getting some head.
Yeah.
My question to you
Yes.
is, what charge would you charge Cardi B with?
So here's what I'm going to say to you. You intentionally got me drunk. Not got me drunk. We got drunk together.
Yeah, we talked about that. I went through
get
that.
it. Okay, I'm going through the intent. So I'm going
what
law and order. I'm
charge?
trying
There
to
is
tell
no
you.
charge.
Can you let me talk?
I'm
It's
listening,
called,
but
so
there's
it's the
no
intent.
charge.
Listen, there's the intent, right? So, and then it was premeditated because you decided, okay, I'm gonna get you drunk, but I'm gonna trick you. So it's intent. So it's gotta be something.
So
it's
do you
something
think
they
she
can
should
throw
go
it.
to
I'm
jail
not
for
a
that?
lawyer,
You
but
think-
you intentionally did it, and then you planned it. So something's gotta be. I'm not a lawyer, so I
Do
don't know
you
how it
think
goes.
she can actually go to jail for that?
I think she should be charged.
Where's the number
also,
one?
it's okay for a man to be raped, but not a woman. Good
No,
to hear
listen
that.
to what
I
I'm
like
saying.
that. I
Listen
like
to what
that.
I'm
Rape
saying.
is not the charge.
I mean,
We're trying to
if I
find- we're
if I
trying
mess
to
with the
find-
transmitter, I am raped if I didn't know.
So
I
there,
got
there it
raped.
is. There it is right there.
If I didn't know, I've been raped.
There,
Right.
there it
Yeah.
is right there. Remember,
Right.
I just asked you,
Right.
what charge would you charge?
Okay.
You mentioned the intent and premeditated.
Yeah.
But you didn't tell me the charge. And now
I don't know.
But now you're saying rape. So the charge that you would charge her with is
The intent to rape.
The intent to rape and premeditated rape. That's what you're charging.
That's what
her
I
with.
was saying, but not the actual rape. Because I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
What was Bill Cosby
because
charged
if
with?
you go, if I'm,
What was Bill charged with?
he actually raped the women.
But what was he charged?
I don't know. I
It
don't
was
know.
more than that because he drugged them, right?
Yeah, he drugged me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the whole situation, but see, y'all, you still not looking at it. Y'all looking
Well, no,
at it
I'm
because she's
saying
a
whatever
woman.
that charge was should be part of her charge. Whatever he was charged with, where he
Ooh,
drugged.
I got the perfect example. The guy that killed himself. The girl, all she did was brought him the girls. That's it.
What guy
She
you
just
talking
brought
about?
him the
He's
girls.
talking about the one who
He
was
talking
hung.
about
Epstein.
Okay.
She just brought. She didn't do nothing else. She don't get no charge. They tried.
Yeah,
she killed
she gets-
herself
but
too.
there's a
Then she
charge
get-
for that.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Hold
you
on.
brought me a man without her consent.
Listen.
You
No,
brought me
listen.
a man.
You know why there is no charge for that? And I'm gonna tell you why.
She
Because-
got a charge. What are you
Wait
talking
a minute.
about?
Let me talk. There was no crime committed in this situation. Where's the crime at first, bro?
Okay. All right. If you don't see no
Where's the
crime,
crime?
man,
There is
if
no
you don't
crime.
see deceit and the dishonesty in this,
That's deceit and dishonest. Where's
Okay.
the crime? So you're trying to give her time for something that there was not even a crime for.
that's fine. Hey, to each his own.
No, I feel what you're saying.
To each his own, bro.
But-
I'm not gonna even
but
discuss it. If
legally-
you don't
Hey,
think,
I'm talking
if you
legally.
don't think nothing should happen to her, you are.
Mentally, yeah, but I'm saying legally, you can't charge that woman with that.
Let me say something about
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And that girl.
Yeah.
That assistant were bringing in them girls.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about R. Kelly and the people who aided him. First of all, the young lady with Epstein that's aiding and abetting, right? Now, let me tell you this. Those were underage girls.
Right.
Oh, I know. I don't know the whole story. behind it.
Now,
I just know
those
she was bringing them.
were underage girls, and on top of that, they're being trafficked.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying.
But no,
Yeah, I didn't know.
No,
Yep.
you used an example, and that's the example that you chose. You used an example of something you didn't know, but you chose to use that example.
I use it because she was bringing the girls just as
Okay.
Cardi B bought him a transgender.
So, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
That's the-
I can see
Yeah.
where you can find logic in there.
Right.
I can see that. But here's something that needed to be factored in when you're going to use that as your example. Age. You didn't factor that in
I didn't factor that
when
in.
you
Yeah, you're
chose
right.
to use that as an example.
Got
Yeah,
it.
because there's no crime in what happened with that. But what I really want to say, and I really want to mention this before I close the show out, because this is a good, important topic based upon these allegations that Diddy's being charged with. So this guy gets in on it, and he say, you know what, I'm finna go all the way with it. 50 Cent, he's actually doing a show, Surviving Diddy
Oh,
series.
I saw that.
Trolling like a
Yeah, you know, but it's funny because Diddy 50 been had a issue with Diddy, and this stuff that Diddy does at his parties, because he mentioned this before. I've heard 50 Cent say, man, you go to a Diddy party and somebody hug you from the front and from the back. That's way too much.
Oh, that's way too.
You know, so this is something that's been mentioned, and I'm just saying that to say that these allegations about Diddy, there's been several different rumors about stuff that he's been doing. So not to say that he's guilty, but I just want to say that, you know, if you are involved in situations like this, you got to take this sexual assault stuff serious, because it is really serious now. Even though, and more so the fact that it's happening to younger adults in America. So this is why these sexual assault charges are really, really brought upon these people, and it comes from years after. But you should be charged with something if you sexually assaulting anybody. So that's all, y'all, for this edition of Music Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Come back tomorrow and check out True Tuesday with K Money. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, B52 Scott Podcast, on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast.